that's a typical chicken and the egg problem. Whenever you want to create a marketplace or a community-first business, the community needs to be there. But for the community to be created, it has to see the value. So how exactly do you bring those two together? Well, recently, Zied actually reached out to me because he's launching a community building platform where people can find peers to plan and execute common action. The type of action will vary, containing big concerns like people victims of vaccine side effects gathering to show how many they are and get recognized, farmers victims of pesticides, etc, etc. So Zied is basically a censored human rights advocate. What I like about his project is it helps people to basically be together and fight against a common cause. Often what can happen with big corporation is that, you know, they're going to try to crush the individual. However, whenever people are put together, they can actually start taking action. And this website is basically trying to help people to be in group and take action all together. And Zied is struggling to find his actual audience. So let me have a look at the website. Protest online, find allies, and take action. The tagline to me is pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. You have two options. The first option is to start a protest, or the second one is to promote us. To me, whenever you have two call to actions, it can be a bit confusing for people. I would just focus on the protest because that's why the whole website is about. So here, as we can see, they put the current protest on top, but actually I think down the line it would be great to have this as the homepage with potentially like one tagline and then the current protest just below. Here we can see that there are a few protests that have been launched. However, there have been 0% solved. And most protests have actually been launched by Zied himself. There is something that is a pretty cool story, which is a story of how Reddit actually grew. Reddit is a famous social media, and as you know, like for people to find benefits in Reddit, they need to have content there. So when they first created the website Reddit, obviously there were zero content. So whenever you start on a forum and you have zero content, what are you going to do? Well, nothing, because it's empty. So there is absolutely no reason for you to start posting on it if there are no one to answer. So what the founders started to do is to actually create content around specific question and start answering. So they created a few profiles and they started to have conversation, answer different topics, etc, etc. And down the line, people started to see Reddit directly from Google search and started to see the different topics of discussion, and down the line started to create their account on the platform, become more active, and now Reddit is making billions of dollars. But it all started from the exact same thing of content creation from the existing founders to just get the flywheel going. And I think this is the exact same thing with this protest. Like, you want to have success story of people who were alone facing like one trouble, and actually thanks to WeAlly found other people in the exact same situation and they managed to be together to actually start an action. So the way I would personally do it is first to try to push a lot the content, remove the 0% solved. Even if you have to put like a random number, you need to show to people that this is actually moving forward. Otherwise, people are just going to be discouraged seeing that nothing is working. At first, you need to create this little traction exactly the same way Reddit did. You need to have some content, you need to have like people commenting, etc. Because whenever you are facing like a big challenge on your own, being able to see that others are facing exactly the same and they are interacting makes you feel less alone, and then makes you want to join a certain cause. Something that I believe also could be cool is on this type of website, what you need to build is trust. For trust to happen, you have several options. Option one, it's recommended by peers, meaning that people faced a challenge, they went on WeAlly and they actually managed to be in a group of other people, took legal action and won something. Second option is to have a website that builds trust. How do you build trust? Technically with testimonials. But again, we come back to the problem number one. So how exactly can you build even more trust? We need to understand that there are real human beings behind. And for that, having a little live chat on the corner of the website stating, hey, what is the problem you're currently facing? Like, how exactly can I help you? Adding a live chat where you can answer to questions from people, I think is a great way to just build more trust and push people to be more inclined in sharing what their struggle is, so they can start posting a bit more on platform or join existing causes. When I was on the website, I started to see something about like GMO and why it would be mandatory for them to have a law that would tag GMO products. The way I would personally do it to start having more people on the cause, so once you've identified a cause, I think the first thing to do is just to go online. For example, I would type on Twitter something with GMO and law, and then I would look at everything that's happening online with those two words, and I would try to see if there are like some posts getting a lot of traction. So for example, here, this person is basically fighting against GMO and about like the regulation. So obviously I would try to connect with them. I would either leave a thoughtful comments or actually push directly the link to the action that you want to start with WeAlly, etc, etc. Whenever you're trying to grow a community first business where people need to be together at first, you need to find a source of traffic for your website. In that case, I think Twitter or LinkedIn or any social media where people are actually complaining about something specific is a great way to attract new people to look at what your website is doing and for people to join forces pieces together. On top of it, building relationship with people. As you can see, we're getting tractions on this type of post. Can be a great way for you to be promoted. So for example, they could down the line share on their account something about WeAlly, something about what you're doing, an interview of you, etc, etc. But as a founder, your goal is to really spend as much time as possible online spotting these trends and engaging into conversation to build strong relationships with people who would down the line start using the platform that you've built. And then once something is working well, you would have like testimonials from people, you would have like success stories, etc, etc. But to kickstart the business, you need to hustle. You need to be like on every single social media, making like all those searches, trying to find like the topics, whether it's Twitter or Reddit, where you can interact and really build rapport and build relationships. To sum up, whenever you're launching, whether it's a marketplace or a community-driven business, it's always a struggle to find the first users. However, you need those first users to bring more users. So how exactly do you create the value? The value needs to come from yourself, which means that at first it's okay to create like some content that will show to people how exactly the platform works. In Zied's case, for WeAlly, I would really focus on all the protest part and put it directly on the homepage so it's clear for people to see that there are actions being taken care of, that there are things going on, that there is a movement actually in place. The second step is all about trying to find relevant people for your platform. And in that case, I would spend as much time possible on Twitter, on Reddit, finding the topics that are hot, finding people who are complaining about a specific law or who got side effects or whatever topic, but engage with them, build trust, and then once you have done all that, start pushing content their way. Another thing that Zied could do is actually do PR, so press, try to be in some famous media, so just reach out to journalists, explain why you're doing it and what could people benefit from, and from there drive traffic. But first, you need to have those initials, first cases where people are all together, and for that, it requires hustle. Peace!